Hey, how you doing? Welcome to Garden Fork Radio. Thanks for downloading the show. It's me and my friends talking about what we hope are interesting DIY-ish and DIY adjacent topics. I love that word, adjacent. Like people ask me if I'm a vegetarian, and I say that I am vegetable adjacent. And we, at the house here, at the apartment, we mainly eat vegetables. And on the weekend, I might have a meat dish. And if we go out to dinner, if there are short ribs or maybe some homemade sausage or something, I will have that. So I'm a vegetable adjacent. And so the show is DIY adjacent. This wasn't really what you logged on to listen to, was it? It was Eric talking about cool stuff. So let's start. I got 3 things for you today. So I really like watching YouTube. I watch more YouTube. I don't really watch a lot of regular TV. I do watch the morning show on Apple TV. And The Diplomat has now released a new season on Apple TV. And there's a couple others. I could do like a show about the programs I like. But anyway, on YouTube, I've learned, because of the algorithm, I actually have several accounts. And I like to watch people rebuild these old houses in Europe, you know, using limecrete and stone and stuff. So I have an account, I guess it's called, for watching that kind of stuff. And then I also like watching the Mr. Hughes guy, Hewes, rebuild old tanks. And I found that if I watch those both on the same channel, it sends me all sorts of whack stuff. So I have an account to watch, you know, fixing up old building stuff. And then I have this account to watch fixing up old tractors and stuff. Marty T is another guy who he finds tractors. Well, he's probably told about them now, like bulldozers that have been in the woods since a construction project 20 years ago. And he sometimes gets them cited, sometimes not. But anyway, on my tank channel, YouTube suggested I watch a video called Lucky Driver Survives Most Horrific Crash. And I was like, okay, I don't love the title, but the thumbnail shows the front of a semi-truck wedged underneath an overpass with a hill between. Basically, there's an exit which is raised up from the road. The highway is above. This guy jumped off the highway, went down an embankment, has wedged his semi-truck under the exit ramp. And I'm like, okay, I got to watch this. So I was exercising, and I usually put a video up because I already know the exercise. I just need the people to tell me what to do, just remind me what to do. So I don't need to watch the exercise video, which I find mind-numbingly boring. So I put up, you know, Mr. Hughes, the tank guy, so I thought, well, let's watch this. It's over an hour long. So stuff like this, I watch it at 1.25x speed on YouTube or 1.5x speed. And you can do that if you press on somehow get the, on the app, up in the right-hand corner of the screen is a little sprocket looking thing. Those are your settings. If you tap on that and hit playback speed, you can pick different playback speeds. If you're watching on a laptop or a table desktop, the sprocket thing is usually in the info bar at the bottom of the video. But YouTube does a pretty good job of speeding up the audio, but you can still understand what they're saying. And the gentleman who made the video, he's part of Pepe's towing service. He has a little text that says, if you want to watch the action, you know, scroll to minute 32. And I was like, well, I want to watch them how they set this up, because I realize why I like to watch it is I use some of the similar techniques when we're dropping a leaner tree or when we want a tree to drop in a very specific lane. You know, when you're cutting a tree down in the yard, there probably isn't any other trees around it, you know. But when you're dropping a tree in the woods, you know, because you want firewood and the tree is dead, it can get hung up in the limbs of the other trees that are surrounding it. So what I look for is kind of a clear slot to drop it in. And if not, we put a rope on it because we might have to yank it down because it becomes what's called lodged. You can be hard lodged, like it's sitting in the crook of a big limb and the trunk of the tree, and then, well, you're kind of toast there. There is a way to do that. You start cutting off the bottom of the tree, basically. Or it's just the sticks, the limbs of the tree you're dropping down get entangled in the limbs of another 2 or 3 or 4 trees. And with a rope, you can pull that down. Sometimes you can just stand on the trunk and jump on it and it'll drop. Anyway, I love, just because I like hardware, the gentleman that coordinated lifting this truck out, which was amazing because instead of just yanking it up the hill to the highway, which would entail enclosing the whole 3 lanes of southbound traffic, he's like, I can do it on the exit ramp. And the cops are like, okay, So it's him, and he has a rotator tow truck. There's another rotator tow truck, and then a standard semi-truck tow truck. The rotators have a boom that will turn. And I watched them rig the semi-truck, and they wrapped straps around the trailer, and then they put a huge piece of angle iron underneath the semi-truck, kind of halfway between the front wheels and the back wheels, right behind the cab. And I didn't realize it, but these semi-truck tow trucks have several winches on the boom. There's this giant boom that telescopes up. There's several different standalone winches on that. And so the gentleman had the main boom hooked up to the front of the semi-truck. The other rotator semi-truck was connected to the back of the semi-truck, the back part, the trailer. And then he put this angle iron under the frame of the semi-truck, which is wedged underneath the ramp. And he put that on another winch on the boom. It was pretty amazing. Anyway, if you like this stuff, you probably want to watch. You could watch it all on regular speed. I usually speed it up because I'm making dinner or something. At 1.5x, it's a little hard to hear him talk. He's telling the other guys what to do, and he's telling us what he's doing because he has a GoPro or something strapped to his chest, and he also has a portable little sport cam that he'll stick somewhere, and then he has a drone he puts up in the air sometimes as well. But it's 1 hour and 6 minutes long, and I watched the whole thing. But I did it while I was exercising, so I was like, okay. I do sometimes think I'm watching YouTube, and I'm like, okay, that was 1 hour of my life I won't get back. But I probably learned something when that's kind of a big part of the goal. And I love that it's everyday people making a video, and they're pretty good. I notice sometimes I get YouTube suggests that I watch new channels, and you can tell they're pretty bad. But like 10 videos later, they're pretty good. So you could do that if you want. If you want to start a YouTube channel, it's not hard. I don't think you should aim for millions of subscribers. What you want are 1,000 true fans. And we've talked about that before. That is a great blog post on Kevin Kelly's website. Go to I think it's kk.org, or just search for 1,000 true fans in Google, and it'll show up. It'll the first, second, or third ranking there. But yeah, so I don't love the title, Lucky Driver Serves Most Horrific Crash of 2025, because it was a stickler to get this thing out of there, and it was pretty cool to watch. But as we all know, I'm getting a little tired of the clickbaity thumbnails and titles, to the point that there's people they're in northern Italy, and they're rebuilding what was I think a barn into a home. They're on this terraced hill. The Alps are in the background, and it's interesting to watch them, put in the drainage. They had to dig out and put drainage under the floor of the thing and all the stuff in cutting stone, learn how to cut stone. But then they rented a machine that basically can cut down your woods. And they were using that in a very irresponsible way. And the thumbnails have gotten real, like, you won't believe what we found. And if you watch the video, they're like, oh yeah, we found a pair of shoes in the dirt or something. You know, I'm exaggerating, but it's never like buried treasure. It's like, oh yeah, we found this kind of sort of interesting thing in the field we were working on. So I get tired of that. It's like and there's always a circle around it with a arrow pointing to it and a big question mark. Wow, this is Eric on a tear about what he doesn't like. Anyway, that goes to show, if you start a channel, please don't make the clickbaity, the oh my OMG fish face, like you go, oh my God, thumbnails. I have some of those, full disclosure. I need to go fix them. I was trying all sorts of things because it seemed to work for other people. Anyway, so it's okay to start another account with YouTube to put all your tractor extraction videos or your tank repair videos. So that was Mr. Hughes, Mr. Hewes, there in the UK. And then Pepe's Towing Service, which is in California. And that was cool. It had, because on the way up to the little house in the woods, we cross Interstate 84 and Interstate 684 right outside of Danbury. And it's a mess of an exit to get to. A lot of people aggressively shoving their way in at the very end of the exit because you have to queue up. So I've discovered that you can go past the exit and take the next exit and drive through essentially a shopping mall and get back on the highway. And I don't think I'm not driving through it's not a residential neighborhood that a bunch of people are tearing through, which is what the Waze app, I think, is guilty of sometimes. But right off that intersection is a gas station and a Dunkin' Donuts where I can charge the car, and this big towing yard with these giant semi-truck tow trucks. And there's must be 6 or 8 or 10 of them. And they just sit there, and I'm like, why do you need so many of those? And that's an awful lot of overhead to carry. I don't know if they're leasing them. Did they pay for them? Are they older? It wouldn't surprise me if there's leasing. There are tax advantages to leasing vehicles if you are a corporation, what I know. But I realized why they have so many of them, because they're at the crux of 2 big interstates. So if there's an accident on either one of them, they just jump on the on-ramp. And for a lot of these, if the truck goes off the highway, or if the multiple trucks go off the highway, you need more than one of these giant tow trucks to do it. So yeah, they probably idle, they probably sit for a day or, 3 days or something, but then there's a big accident with a truck, and I think that's where they make their money. Very, very interesting. It was just really smart the way he did this, and he explained it the whole time. So yeah, except for Eric ranting about thumbnails, that was interesting, wasn't it? Hey, real quick, we all know that Eric has an Amazon store on Amazon. If you want to start your shopping there by going to our landing page, they call it storefront they call it, amazon.com/shop/gardenfork. Check out the tools I suggest, generators, winter must-have stuff. Also, anything you buy there, we get an affiliate link for, a finder's fee, plus also anything else you purchase that day on Amazon, starting from our page and going wherever in Amazon, we get a little finder's fee for that too. Helps pay the bills, super appreciate it. Make sure to shop local, go to your local hardware store, okay? But if you're going to Amazon, maybe try and use our link. That'd be great. Thanks. Let's jump over to my computer. A friend of mine is a commercial photographer, and he uses Lightroom and has tens of thousands of photos that he manages. when he goes on a shoot, partly because it's digital, you can shoot a lot of pictures and he has to edit them. But he has a automatic backup service that backs up to the cloud, and it's called Backblaze, like blaze like fire, Backblaze, all one word. And they're not paying me to say this, but my friend uses them. His daughter is a computer engineer person, and she checked them out, and she said that they were a good company. And I downloaded the software. I think it's $99 a year for a personal account. And I have a 2 terabyte drive in the Mac. I have an 8 terabyte drive, a side drive, external drive that I have all the photos on and the music, and some project files and stuff like that. And then I have a 22 terabyte giant backup drive and all my individual media drives, which are bare drives that I put in a bare drive dock. I call it a toaster. It looks like a toaster, and you pop the drives in. All those are backed up onto the 22 terabytes. So I've got all these bare drives sitting in little cases. Well, they're medium-sized cases. And I copied them all over to the 22 terabyte. So I set up Backblaze to back up once a day. It suggests backing up once an hour, and I'm like, that's just not necessary. Because I also use Time Machine, and I have an external drive hooked up to that. So that's my local backup. And it backs up everything. It is set to not back up a lot of system files, a lot of extensions and things which are not data critical. Those can be down when you reinstall your software. If your machine fries, the app loads all that stuff back in again. But this just goes to say that I set this up last week and it backed up the internal drive in it seemed like minutes, but maybe not. I do have fiber optic internet here. I'm running on Wi-Fi, so that might make it a little slower. And then the 22 terabyte one, I just set it up to back that one up on the weekend, and I just walked away because I don't usually look at the computer on the weekends. And it did it. It was like, wow, that's amazing. So now it's set to, let me see here. It's an app, and I put it in the, what's the little bar, the menu bar at the bottom of your iMac screen? Anyway, it's set in there. And it's super simple. It's like settings, restore options, and pause the backup. What's very cool is if you want to restore a file or restore a hard drive that's crashed, you can use restore to back it up to a drive that you've just plugged in. Or you can order a hard drive with all that stuff loaded on it from Backblaze, which I think is freaking brilliant. They will, and they'll send it to you FedEx. So I just thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, they're going to charge you money for it, but if your computer dies and you need stuff, I thought that was pretty cool. You can upgrade to a larger file size, or if you're a business. I think they can detect, if you want to do it on more than one computer, I think you have to upgrade. But it's called Backblaze, and I thought that was really cool. Oh, and adjacent to that, I have been leaving the Adobe software cloud. They just raised their prices again. Mine expires in November. I'm going to make a point of right now making sure that is canceled. I'm pretty sure I canceled that, but let's just double check that. But in the meantime, I've been using a Photoshop capable program called Pixelmator Pro. You can download a free version of it. If you want to have some of the more bells and whistles, I think it's $299, $300, and you own the software and you get upgrades. I don't know if you get like 10 upgrades, then you have to buy it again. That part I don't know about. But you're not glued to the cloud where Photoshop, where once you cancel your account with Adobe, they just turn off all your software, And I love that it's an indie company. So I'm Pixelmator Pro is my photo editing. I make the thumbnails with that. They also have a Adobe Illustrator like app called Photomator. Oh no, Photomator is their version of Lightroom. Anyway, a good company. The support was really good, and it's a flat fee to buy the software. I've also moved over to DaVinci Resolve for editing. It is free, or you can upgrade to the paid version. I upgrade to the paid version because it does have some AI audio stuff that would make editing the podcast much easier. So I went for that. And I'm like, okay, this is great software that they've made. And they do make money. They, like the movie, the big cinema people use this software. It has so many bells and whistles I will never use. But it also has a lot of audio, just like compressor. It'll just make everything on the audio track sound pretty darn good without me having to go, okay, I got to hit the compressor and I have to normalize it here. You know, it also does the same thing when I output a YouTube video. So anyway, enough about that. I'm on did I turn on the iCloud? Here's my Creative Cloud here. So yeah, I'm going to make sure that that is turned on. I've gotten a couple more refunds from companies that did automatic renewals. 2 of them, I did not get an email saying that they were doing a renewal. And I was nice about it, and I got the refund. I can't remember if I told you, but I was trying to cancel my Ancestry account, and they renewed it. And I emailed them a bunch of times, and I kept on getting what I think were AI replies wanting all this information. I would provide the information. And then I was doing the automatic payment through PayPal, which I think you should do for a lot of this online stuff. So I went to PayPal and I disputed the charge. And you can upload documents, and I uploaded several of the emails showing how I kept on providing the information and they kept on asking for the same information. And I told them, I said, look, I was sick. I forgot to delete the account. And then I tried to delete it the day of, and no one would answer me. So anyway, keep after that stuff. There's a great accounting software that I use. You can have, it's personal and small business. They also have a corporate version as well. But I like it because it reminds me, I'm blanking on the name, so I'm looking it up for you. I like it because it will tell me if there's a regular payment going through. It goes, hey, these 2 automatic payments are coming. And when you get like YouTube sends me their payments by bank transfer. And when I get one of those, it goes, hey, you just got this big transfer. And if your balance is low, you can set to where you want, at what dollar level do you want to get a email from them going, hey, heads up, your account is low. And it's called Quicken Simplify. Quicken Simplify, and Fi is with an I at the end, not a Y. Simplify. And it says 5 transactions that need your attention. They want me to categorize some transactions that they can't quite figure out. The beauty of this automatic categorization is they use some smart stuff to figure out that you're getting this weekly bill from Verizon monthly, and that's your cell phone or your wireless. But if you're an independent contractor or you have your own LLC or sub-S corporation, in December 30th probably, or early January, you can pump out a expense report and a profit and loss statement, and you give that to your accountant. And that is so much easier than having to go through your checking account statements and that kind of thing, which I put off to the last minute. So hold on. I'm talking constantly here. Anyway, so check out Pixelmator Pro, DaVinci Resolve, and Quicken Simplify. If you want bare bones audio editing, get Audacity. It is not the most intuitive interface, but I use it, like I'm using it right now to record the show, and then I will dump this into DaVinci Resolve to drop in the music. I could drop in the music in Audacity. It's just I have the template already set up in DaVinci. So, yeah. All right. One last thing. We very much try to be non-political or apolitical here, but I don't think everything is political now, unfortunately. And one thing that's been a target of people that don't like information is Wikipedia. They have become a target, unfortunately. So I give them money every year. I think I give them $50. I think it's once or twice a year. This will pop up on the landing page of their. Go to Wikipedia English, and on the screen there is a thing in the corner going, "Hey, this is free. It costs money. Would you give us 10, 25, 200,000, whatever you want?" So maybe think about that. There is a donate button on their landing page there, and I give them $50, and so there's 600 usual listeners to Garden Fork, I think. So if each of us gave $10, that would be $6,000. They could buy more server space, or if they needed to hire lawyers, Anyway, it just bums me out that is where our world is going. So that's why I want to be out here sharing cool stuff and trying to just motivate you and motivate myself to go out and do that cool stuff. Oh, coming up this week, there are 2 new videos out. I got the beehive ready for winter. I put the sugar cakes in, and the camera operator thought that one was good. She thought there were some funny moments there, and and constant learning about bees. And then I'm completely blanking on the other video. Oh, this is good. This is Eric's brain just failing. If I could open a browser window here, I could tell you what the other video was about. Oh, I took some overproofed pizza dough, and I said, let's just cook this out and see how horrible it is. So overproofed dough, a bread dough, wheat dough, is when it has risen for too long to make the kind of bread you want to make. And the bubbles that the yeast creates, which gives it lift, those bubbles are starting to pop. The yeast is either dead or dying, so it's not creating more. And the dough starts to kind of deflate. And I thought, let's just throw that in a cast iron pan and throw it in the oven and see what we can make. So yeah, go check those out. youtube.com/gardenfork. All right. That was 25 minutes of Eric. So I'm going to do the after show now. If you're interested in that, couple bucks a month, cup of coffee a month. You get the after show. You get a lot of behind the scenes stuff, either in your inbox or if you use the Patreon app, you'll get it in there. I record some behind the scenes videos, and it really helps. You cannot make a living from ad revenue anymore on YouTube. It's just not possible. So anyway, if you have some thoughts, let me know. I don't know if the email works. Send it to gardenfork87, gardenfork87@gmail. Gardenfork was already you picked, so I just picked gardenfork87 because I think that'll stick in people's heads. Gardenfork87@gmail, and send me your thoughts, or record a message on your phone, a question or a thought or something you want to share. That would be really cool. All right, go out and do cool stuff. Make it a great day. I'll see you. Garden Fork Radio is produced by Garden Fork Media LLC in Brooklyn, New York. The music in the show is licensed from audioblocks.com and uniquetracks.com.